So you're the second Chicago All-Star I've had here in the studio. The first one was Kanye West.
There we go.
I'm working with Ye now. He's from Chicago, has a lot of
Yes,
Chicago pride.
congratulations,
Thank
man.
you. I see you and your brother supporting him a lot.
Of course, always.
And I always find it odd how people code switch based on what the public narrative is when it comes to him.
Yeah. There's nobody like Kanye.
So what do you think the public's issue is with Kanye?
Well, you want to know something? And I was just thinking about this other day because, you know, the album that I have, it deals a lot with stereotypes, right? So like there's a lot of, the album Coming of Age just dropped that just came, it's all about genre bending, but also stereotypes. Because there's a lot of different things that we've seen since the earliest days of American cinema. Like the first, and I talk about it on my project, D.W. Griffith, he's the guy that made A Birth of a Nation. So like the oldest film, first film to be showed by Woodrow Wilson in the White House, depicts African Americans as very similar to what we are also depicted as today, which is like thieves, criminals, you know, extremely sex-driven, like all these different kind of stereotypes that are really stuck there. And basically just saying, to cut it short, I think the goal, or one of the goals of it, was to verify the need for the Ku Klux Klan after the release of slaves in America, which a lot of folks feel like they just became the police, the overseers, right?
And the 13th Amendment breaks it all down in a way that
Yeah,
like, if you haven't
if
seen
you commit, if you're a criminal, they could put you in jail.
Yeah.
So there's so many things, but just to say that, bring it back to Kanye West now, Kanye West, and the reason why he'll always be so influential is because there's a lack of representation when it comes to strong African-American role models, period. So no matter what anybody says about Kanye West, there'll always be young black kids like me that looked up on TV and said, I've never seen a black man talk like that. I've never seen a black man feel like he isn't owed, but that he deserves this, and that he won't let anyone take it away from him. I've never seen a black person that controls his narrative in the way that he does, and doesn't allow people to change what his thought process is, whether it be wrong or right. However, I've seen a lot of white men that do that on TV.
and get away with it.
Not just get away with it, embrace it. You know what I'm saying? So
But why has the black culture bought into the cancellation of black people when we step out and do what white people do?
the same reason why we be voting for certain presidents and certain people, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the last like 4 or 5 years, you know, and I love my folks over there at this particular radio station, and I haven't done my
As
interview
long as it's
with
not
them
High
yet.
97, please.
And I haven't done my interview yet, so I'm not going to even say which station it is. But, you know, Bernie Sanders goes on there, says something. Hillary Clinton's like, I got hot sauce in my bag. Joe Biden's like, if you don't vote for me, then you're not black. And they all go on the same network,
haven't been on the Breakfast Club
same
yet?
show. I said for this press run.
Okay.
And I didn't say that. You said that. Just to clarify again. But just saying that being an independent artist, and you know this as an independent entrepreneur, we all do public relations. We all have to have PR. And we all understand that there's certain moments that you engage with particular crowds or masses of people based off the network or the station that you're listening to or that you're on. So I say that to say that a lot of times we're solicited or marketed to and we don't even realize that we're being marketed.
People
or
don't
solicited
understand how the media is built around really cultivating their audience, building their audience. And that's where I think I'm not the most popular because I literally say and think what the I want and feel for the culture. So it's not driven by a corporation.
You know why you're good for Kanye West? Because you guys have two very similar things going on.
Yeah.
Where the truth is that people don't like you because you say the things that they won't. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that.
That's our conversation.
That's it.
And the appreciation that we're not yes men. So he's gonna say things, I'm gonna go, nope, don't agree with that. And I'm gonna say things that he says, nope, that's whack.
And that's
we can still respect
conversation,
each
though.
other.
And you still respect each other.
Yeah.
And you were just saying that. I think something else very true when you said, we do need to show more love, but what we really need to get better at is being able to show tough love. Because I think it's a thing where we already glow everybody up. That's the whole thing. Is like, oh yeah, you killing it, blah, 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 blah. You know, there's even an idea, and I'm gonna say this, like a lot of these conversations, they, you know, stem much further than just the African-American community, just like period. Like, it's harder for us as a people to tell people things, or matter of fact, how about this? We feel like it's love to glow somebody up when they might not be doing something correctly rather than to show them how to correctly do it.
We also have to stop saying we love Kanye West when the white people releases sneakers or a clothing product or a white-owned label drops an album, but he gives his free black thought. And I think that it's easy to embrace commercialism and, oh my God, you're giving me something fly to wear, so I love you, versus like, I just love the fact that you're a free man with free thought, and I don't have to agree, but the fact that you have the power as a black man in white society to say it, I gotta respect you for that. Like, I don't feel like we do enough of that, and it's very frustrating.
Well, I think that it's also a thing, and you know this is like, and it's also because of you being an independent entrepreneur and me being an independent artist, I'm still a person. So like, it's like every day when I leave here, I'm gonna call it Uber. I'm gonna go to a gas station and buy some Jewel pods. Like, I'm gonna
find a vape.
I'm gonna find a vape. Like, I'm gonna go buy some weed. Like, I'm gonna go maybe to In-N-Out or go get food somewhere else. Just saying like all these things to say that we are normal people. And I think something that the industry, because it's the two different parts, there's the music industry, movie industry, athletic industry, but the industry creates a box, and it is one of the ways that they launch people into stardom and success around, or how about this? They isolate their artists. So it's like, if you're gonna be famous, you can't be everywhere. Like, I remember a big thing you were talking to Kanye about is that he didn't have security at one point.
He walked here by himself, took an Uber, no
He
security.
came to Chicago like 2 years ago and did the same thing. He was in the hood with us by himself, no security guards. I know people have seen those videos. So it's like, people feel like you shouldn't do those things because there's an industry that's made it uncommon for an independent entrepreneur, independent artist, or independent free thought. And if you're in this world or in this realm, then why would you even want that?
But there is also a safety component because there is the Nipsey Hussle experience too, right? Like,
of course,
you know what I mean?
Shout out to Nipsey Hussle, one of the greatest artists of all time. But I would also say like this, you know, one of my biggest thoughts, and I might have to get security after this, but I've never had security. I know you know me for a long time. Never had security in Chicago, outside of Chicago. I go overseas. I don't give a And the reason why, and Chris Rock talked about it when there's a joke that he has where he talks about
before he got slapped or after, because
this is
he may need security. He didn't have security at the Oscars.
Come on, man. Chris Rock just redeemed himself. He's on the Dave Chappelle. He just went crazy. We're
But
not gonna play with Chris.
He didn't have security.
We're not gonna
He didn't have security the night of Oscars. I don't know if you know, but go ahead.
He stood his ground though. Like, and
I mean, he had to stand his ground. He got the.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if I could have stood my ground from that.
Taylor.
Because when I say stand my ground, I mean he didn't fall to the ground. Like,
Taylor,
I literally mean that.
If that would have happened, if that would have happened to us, if it would have happened to you, I would have ran up on stage. We had to whoop Will's ass. If it would have happened to me, I'd have been looking around. Whoever didn't come up on stage to whoop Will's ass,
It's getting their ass whooped
at the after party.
Well, no. So check this out. Chris Rock said this thing. He talked about being black famous. He was like, I'm black famous, right? So he's like, you got to be 3 feet or 5 feet away from me. You got to have like a camera out, and I got to have a big ass security guard next to me for you to know that it's me. He's like, when you're white famous, he's like, there's a difference. But basically he was just saying that being black famous, and I think this is very true, and I thought about it when I was younger, is like, how many like wealthy entrepreneurs, like multimillionaires, whether they be from any ethnic or different cultural background.
Steve Stout's not popping up with tons of security.
He's not. And Steve Stout is like one of my mentors.
And
I'm not even trying to keep, I think, Steve, he's,
I mean, you do post United Masters enough, so like there's a love and relationship there.
So well, it's so much love that I'm like, please, like I'm like, Steve does have security. That was my first thought. It's like, but seriously though, he talks about this concept, and there's so many different people that I've watched when I was growing up that I can't think about that aren't black that have security. And I think that a lot of those things do stem from the perpetuation of violence media-wise with African Americans. Like, I live in Chicago, so I've seen the over-perpetuation of even our city and our culture and how they've made, children out to be terrorists.
I want to jump back to Kanye real quick because he is so vocal, you're so vocal. You and your brother, your family, was being independent important so you could have free thought and free speech and to move the way you want? That's one question. Let me start with that. Is that why you all are independent?
I think a big thing is that, my family, we don't really trust a lot of people. So you can tell us so many different things about what you're going to do and how you're going to get these done. And I've almost learned at this point in the business at 26 that's almost all the industry is people saying, I could do this, I could do that. And who talks the best game based off of the representation or the historic catalog of people that they've worked with, right? But growing up, I'll just be honest, I didn't know all these things. But what I did know is that I didn't want to leave the trust or, my career in the hands of, any of these guys walking around in these suits, and making the decisions very similar. And we've talked about this as well to your situation and where you are with your career and your business, where you weren't going to allow somebody to buy your company from you. You weren't going to allow somebody to decide, I'm gonna kick you off your show and your show gonna keep going. And I watched you fight for other people through those situations. I've seen you prior to this situation figuring out. And the other thing is that if you're good, the career will take off, but you have to be patient and you have to be willing to go through the process.
I think patience was the biggest lesson as an independent business owner that it's the biggest lesson you're going to learn.
Because and this is the big thing, and I was telling people, if you're building a pyramid and everybody else is building kingdoms, of course they're going to finish before you. If you're trying to build something, and that is where I feel like I am in my career, because I have been making music for a long time, but just with this project, I'm starting to see all this success and all these things happen. But I also know people that I saw, while I was started, that were zoom, they went up there, and now I'm where are they?